to move on with the panel discussion, we will be having a panel on improving teaching and learning through action researches by two of our outstanding teachers. I'd like to call on stage our moderator, Dr. Kezon Sherab of Paro College of Education. And I would like to call on stage our two presenters, Ma'am Som Chotin of Wangsal Institute for the Deaf and Sir Tsering Doji of Shari Higher Secondary School. To give a brief background on how the action research came to be, to cultivate a research-driven atmosphere within schools, the MOESD introduced the Sharick Endowment Fund for Action Research, formerly known as the Bhutan Endowment Fund, with an initial allocation of 10 million on December 2nd, 2013. Officially inaugurated on 23rd of August 2016, the fund aims to enhance the quality of teaching and learning by fostering a culture of action research in education. Annually, the Ministry of Education and Skills Development call for action research proposals from schools. For the academic year 2024, the ministry received 295 proposals from teachers, all of which underwent a thorough review and evaluation by a technical committee. Among these, 40 proposals were selected for the Sharick Endowment Fund, each receiving 20,000. The reports of the selected proposals require an evaluation to present the findings at the Action Research Seminar. And the two presenters here are the recipients of the Action Research Seminar Fund. Now to introduce our moderator, Dr. Kezon Sherab, an associate professor at Paro College of Education, holds a PhD in education and specializes in health and sports sciences, research methodology, and professional development. His research focuses on educational change, student engagement, and GNH education. He is the editor-in-chief of the Bhutan Journal of Research and Development, chair of BCMD, and a board director for Special Olympics Bhutan. Actively involved in university sports, he serves as the General Secretary of the Bhutan University Sports Federation. He has led several international projects, organized conferences, and facilitated academic collaboration. Now, Doctor, if I may please request you to proceed with the session.
Okay, good morning, everyone. Welcome to this interesting session as announced by the MC. We have two enthusiastic teacher action researchers who are going to share about the action research, classroom-based action research. To begin with, if I may introduce the two speakers. First, we have Sonam Chodron, who is a senior teacher at the Wangsal Institute for the Deaf. I wanted to divert a little bit. Even after 30 years of teaching, 30 plus years of teaching, I never thought that I'm getting old. But looking at Sonam's bio, Sonam says she is a senior teacher. The point that I would like to make here is Sonam has been my student throughout her life. I have been Sonam's teacher when she was in a junior high school. And then later, when she came to Paro College for Bachelor of Education, I have had opportunity to teach her. And recently, Sonam graduated with Masters in Inclusive Education from Paro College. Again, I had opportunity to teach her. And she is a senior teacher. If my student is a senior teacher, I have just realized now that I'm getting too old. Okay, having said that, Sonam, I know Sonam is a very enthusiastic action researcher that we have in our school system. And Sonam actually graduated with health and physical education and English as teaching subjects. And later, she took up the teaching position at Wangsal Institute, where they deal with sign language. And I would like to request Sonam to use sign language and tell everyone here, how are you? I would like to request all the audience to to turn to your the next person that is being seated, and then ask, how are you using the sign language? Okay, thank you, thank you. So looking at Sonam's bio is quite interesting. Sonam is a recipient of the Global Teachers Award in 2018. So congratulations, Sonam, for this receiving this important award. And Sonam's interest is in improving sign language and dealing with sign language at the institute. She says that I'm passionate about advocating children with disabilities, striving to create empowering educational experiences and promote inclusivity in the classroom, ensuring that every child has the opportunity to succeed. I think we have discussed a lot about inclusivity, and then we still question ourselves how inclusive we are, not just in the school setting, but generally in our Bhutanese context. So we are eager to listen to Sonam, Sonam's action research work. I would like to also take this opportunity to introduce Mr. Tsering Doji, who is a physics teacher at Shari Higher Secondary School in Paro. Tsering holds a postgraduate diploma in education with physics as his major from Samtse College of Education, which he completed in 2013, and a bachelor's degree in physical science from Sherapsi College. His passion for research was ignited when he had the opportunity to pursue an 18-month diploma study in Japan under the Mixed Teacher Training Scholarship funded by the government of Japan and facilitated by RCSC. Currently, Tsering is actively building his research skills as announced by our MC for information to our international participants here. This is something unique in our Bhutanese education system. Our teachers are required to do action research, and at a certain point in their career, this is even being used as a criteria for their promotion. This is an interesting development in our system. So Tsering is going to share, the title of his action research is Demystifying the Influence of PhET Simulation on Engagement, Satisfaction, and Academic Achievement of Bhutanese students in the physics classroom. So both are classroom-based action research. I'm sure our students here will be interested to know what they're doing in terms of improving the classroom teaching. One at the context of deaf education, and the other one in the context of physics education at a higher secondary school. So let's welcome our two speakers for this session, Sonam and Tsering Doji. So to begin with, I would like to request Sonam to share your work, and you will have 20 minutes. If you're not going to complete within 20 minutes, I'm going to signal, and then you might have to wrap up. Then we will have two presentations at a go, and then we will have about 25 to 30 minutes for Q&A at the end. So I would like to request audience to reserve your questions for both together after the presentations. Thank you. Welcome, Sonam.
Thank you, Dr. Kizak. I'm indeed blessed to be a student. So I'm here right now. It's just because of the guidance you have provided. Kusampo to all of you here. It's an honor to be here today, being in front of you all here, being part of this KIX National Educational Forum. And also, I would like to thank the IDRC KIX team and MOESD for plugging us here in this powerhouse of knowledge. And I'm here representing a group of teachers who continuously faced similar kind of challenges communicating with new students who are admitted in Wangsil Institute for the Deaf, which is located in Centogeok, under Jitsifu village, and that is under Porozongkak, and the place is locally known as Jugel. And these are my co-researchers, the co-teachers that we did it together as a group. So only one could participate today. Rest, they are not here within the country itself. Two of them already left, one already left the country, one is back at school, and another one, two already left, sorry. And one, she's coming back. The other one, Siring Dorka, she already left. Sencho, she's there in Perkins doing her studies. Kinzang is here, and Pema is back at school, and I'm here in front of you all. So with this, as I told you, Wangsil Institute is located in Jitsifu Mula, Jitsifu village. And as we all know that in Wangsil, we have seen children coming to school without their own language, sign language, without their own language, though they do have home signs, though they do interact pinpointing at things, but then they do not have shared language. And when they come to school, what we figured out, so all this group of teachers, we experienced same kind of challenges. We experienced same kind of challenges when they came to school, and when we interacted with them, it was very hard to communicate with them. From there, we thought that in this, the situation came out. The situation where we thought we need to do something. We need to cater to this challenge and work together to overcome this challenge. So over there, what we found out was not only in Wangsil, many other young children, deaf children, they faces this kind of similar kind of challenge, and many people lack knowledge about sign language. So how many of you here are aware of sign language, especially Bhutanese sign language? If you could raise your hand. Thank you, madam. Thank you, sir. So because they are neighbors, madam and sir are very close to us. That is why they are aware of sign language. How many of you beyond this know about sign language? So within this small country, yes, madam, thank you. So Ari, is it DGI? Okay, yes, we have been collaborating with DGI. And Wangsil Institute is collaborating with DGI, and madam is aware of that. So within this small country itself, we are not aware of what is happening in Wangsil Institute for the Deaf. Forget about other countries, they're large countries. So even within this small country, we are not aware of. And similar to this lack of sign language and importance of early intervention is not aware in Bhutan, especially, and in other countries also through looking into the literatures. And most deaf children in Bhutan lack access to language prior to, as I was mentioning. We have seen that challenge, we have seen that situation. And the attainment of spoken and written language especially remains a significant challenge for children who are deaf. So as you could see here, now, so looking at those challenges, we looked into a lot of literatures, the papers, the books, we referred through the internet, we discussed, we talked with the teachers who already came to Bhutan to help us. And then they were mentioning the same kind of challenges. And few literature points that we found quite pertinent and relevant to our issue was these things. Like exposure to sign language can improve the communication skills. So we found a spark of light. Okay, maybe we should put in some kind of sign language intervention to those children before going to their academic classes. Yes, their academic classes, they have to use sign language, Bhutanese sign language as a medium of instruction. Then like it also says that positive impact of cognitive development of children with deafness and hard of hearing is the exposure to sign language. Then sign language is exclusive language option for deaf children that offers barrier-free access and can be used without need for additional assistance or support. Sign language exposure was positively associated with development of social skills also in children with deafness and hard of hearing, and sign language exposure has also been found to have a positive impact on the communication skills of children who are deaf and hard of hearing. And again, sign language adhere to the linguistic rules that govern the structure of words, sentences, and discourse. So these are our spark. And then now the gap that we have already shared, the situation where it's quite difficult for us to communicate. Now we have figured out some kind of some literature, sparklight, where we can go in. Another, now in my previous research, as you could see, in my previous research, what I figured out was there were no shared language at their home, own family, forget about other people, beyond their community. Within their own family, they don't have shared language. So in that case, now when they don't have their shared language, how are we supposed to communicate with those children? That is the gap which has been created. And that is where we found that we need to do something. From there, we came up with the research question now. What would be the impact of if we expose Bhutan Sign Language on the communication skills of children who are deaf and hard of hearing? So if we expose Bhutan Sign Language prior to the students, before going to their classroom academic sessions, what would be their impact? Though we have some literature at the back, we wanted to have a contextualized findings, contextualized solutions for that. And for that, we aim to expose newly admitted students of Wangsil to Bhutan Sign Language sessions through various strategies to enhance their communication skills. So we came together and we aimed at that. So with this now, according to the action research design, we are supposed to plan, then we take actions, then look at things. So we sat together, we planned how to go about with that. We looked into the action research design, and then we thought, okay, now who should be our participant? It's obviously the newly admitted students at Wangsil, because those who are there, they are already exposed to Bhutanese Sign Language. Then, now how should we go about with that? How are we going to observe what was the situation before and how our interventions helped them? So what are the tools that we need to opt for? So we discussed on that, and in group we thought that, okay, we need to have observation first, classroom observations. Some needs to work in the class, some will do the observation, do the videotaping, have photo voice, and we also thought, okay, we will have some kind of assessment, but in a form of video. Then, after having all those datas collected, then we thought, okay, now we have to, again, we sat together and we need to work together. We discussed on our findings, we discussed on how the situation was before, after the intervention, how it was. Then we came together and then we came up with the themes. So through a qualitative data presentation. So these are the intervention strategies that we worked on. And as you could see, there are visual pictures. So some were busy taking photos, some were teaching in the classroom. So first one was teaching BHSL using visual aids. Visual aids, different kind of visual forms. Then we have experiential learning. Another intervention that we provided was through experiential learning. After having this learning, it's kind of a place-based learning. We went to the place where the things are that they need to learn and taught students different things. So when we were asked to teach about bottle, we have heard what bottle is when we were young, like especially for the hearing child when they are in their mother's womb. They hear what things are happening in and around their mother. And then from 0 to like 6 months, they have been listening to all those languages. But whereas it is different to the children who are deaf and hard of hearing. For hard of hearing, yes, there's some kind of acute deafness and all. But for profound deaf child, those who are in their mother's womb, they haven't heard of those words, the languages, because it is not their language. And once they are out from their mother's womb, they are not aware of things that way we say. We can easily say this is bottle, because we have seen it. We have heard it several times. Whereas for children who are deaf, it's very difficult for them to. So what we do, we show them what bottle is. Then, firstly, we take them where the bottle is, we show them, then we let them feel it, then we teach the sign, bottle. So that is experiential learning as well as using visual aids. Then we have field trips, going to that place where the bottle is, then touching the bottle. So field trips, intervention. Before the intervention, we observed how the child communicated with the teacher around. I went near the child. My colleagues went, my friends went near the child, and then we communicated with the child. And what we figured out, so if you do please wait a minute. It was during a break club. So don't worry, there is no sound. Here, I'll explain the situation. The child is in need of a washroom, a toilet, and then he couldn't express. So he was nearly, like, he was about to pee or poop. He was showing his expression, different kind of expression. So it was quite difficult whether he really wanted to go to the toilet or he wanted something. So it was really difficult for us too. So we prompted, we asked him whether he really wanted to go to pee. So that's how the situation was before pre-intervention. So these are some kind of like the extracts that are being shared by the teacher. And the child faced some kind of communication challenge when expressing the need to use the toilet. Despite prompting, the child displayed a lack of receptive skills and was unable to comprehend or sign the word toilet. And another child, he also exhibited some kind of challenges expressing information about her family. So that one, I'll share the video later in the intervention part. And then in communicating about her family members and the number of family members she had, and despite this desire to share, there was a lack of communication gap. So these were the classroom activities that we carried out, the assessment we carried out in the classroom. So who could understand or express what kind of pictures it is, then assessing them, the checklist. So this was after intervention, the observation, after intervention. So now these are the intervention videos. So can you play? Teaching sign language, like using visual aids with real objects. So I was there videotaping, and then she was looking at me, like the smile and all the because of that, because there was someone observing it, you know. This was a session by a deaf instructor. She was using visual aids and teaching the child. And if you could put off the slides, the video will be much more visual. Sorry. Thank you. Do that. So peer learning through visual aids. Field trip. So this meat shop was quite like near to our school, so we went there, walked there. This is a sign for meat. Meat. And she's saying whether the meat is smelling or not. This is pork. Next. So these are our observations and findings. This was before intervention. I was there standing, and then she was asking, who is she? He is not able to communicate who she is. So imitating what she is doing. This was during intervention. So they were given names, assigned names when they reached school after observation, and then teaching them name signs. So now he is able to say his name, sign his name. Can you see the difference? So before he is not able to say who the person is, who he is. Now he says that you are the teacher. So this is our observation and our findings. Next. So I have some more videos, but then if the time is not, time is there, sir? So before we found out that she is not able to sign, she was not able to sign her family members during intervention. So when we were teaching about family members, you could see the pictures over there. So those are the pictures of her family members. So from there, using visual aids, my grandmother, so she's signing now. So the key findings are clearly like shown in the videos. So we have some prominent ones taken out, like use of BHSL, and these are our themes. So use of BHSL to overcome communication challenges and barriers. And we also have communication strategies and techniques to use to teach BHSL, Bhutanese Sign Language, and collaborative efforts and effectiveness. And we also have verbal communication effectiveness with Bhutanese Sign Language. So these are our themes. So with this...
Sonam, can you try and wrap up?
So with this, I would like to conclude saying that integrating Bhutanese Sign Language into early childhood education of children who are deaf and hard of hearing is emphasized as well as recommended. And we also would like to say that the collaborative efforts of the teachers, the group of teachers, was very engaging, and it enhanced the communication needs of the children. With that, we would like to recommend also. And there were some kind of limitations also. So these are the limitations here. I know these findings may not be fully generalizable, but for children who are deaf, it is. I think we could proudly say it is very beneficial. And recommendation to practice experiential learning, use of visual aids and field trips, which are effective teaching and learning strategies for children who are deaf. Then also early intervention. So if we go into go broader into the community and to the policymakers, we would like to recommend that if the early intervention of Bhutanese Sign Language could be there in ECCDs. And BHSL course for parents and family members. And also we would like to recommend community outreach and awareness programs for not only children who are deaf, for children with disabilities, and teacher training in deaf education, and use of deaf adults, recruiting deaf adults in the schools, which we found quite important and quite helpful and supportive. With this, thank you, sir.
So thank you, Sonam. Let's go on to the next presenter, Sering sir. So please hold on to the questions for now.
Kozozangpo and good afternoon to everyone. As introduced by the moderator, my name is Sring Doji and I'm from Shari and I'm a physics teacher out there. Now, before I begin, I would like to have a short meditation before we start or before I take you through my presentation. So let us practice a normal 1 minute breathing in and out meditation. So for this, you have to choose a proper sitting position, and then you have to breathe in normally for about 4 to 5 seconds. Hold it for 1 to 2 seconds, and then breathe out through your nose for about 4 to 5 seconds. You can close your eyes or keep your eyes open. It is optional. So let us begin. Okay, thank you. Before I begin my presentation, I would like to take a moment to sincerely gratitude for the incredible opportunity to engage, learn, and exchange ideas with all the esteemed gathering out here. It is truly an honor to be here among distinguished guests, esteemed researchers, and then intellectuals. The chance to rub shoulders with you all is truly inspiring and humbling. Before I begin, I would also like to set the right expectations. The study that I'm going to present out here is not a groundbreaking study that will redefine the field of education. However, this is a study that adds or contributes to the growing body of knowledge that enhances or has enhanced teaching learning through technology usage. Thank you. With this, I would like to take you through my presentation. The research that I have conducted is co-authored by other 2 teachers in my school. One teacher is still there in my school, and the other, she left to Changsamto Middle Secondary School. The research that I have conducted explored the impact of PhET simulation on students' engagement, satisfaction level, and academic performance in Bhutanese classroom with regard to physics subject. And this paper is published in Journal of Science, Education and Technology, which is one of the Q1 journal under Springer. So let me take you through the research. Short overview. The introduction will give you a brief description about PhET simulations, key theories and previous studies related to the topic, justification of the study based on existing literature. Problem statement. It will tell you all about the research gap or the problem statement, and then how this was carried out, and then it will also talk about the research question and the hypothesis that we have developed. Methodology. Under this section, we will talk about research design, sample size and participants detail, data collection methods, and data analysis techniques. Here, we will talk about the key findings using data, table, figures, and all. And then we will also discuss about the implications or the interpretations of these findings. Lastly, we will discuss about the findings and then comparison with the other studies or prior studies, and then implication of the results. Now, here, I have not explicitly used Chemist and McTaggart's action research cycle, which includes planning, acting, observing, and reflecting, but it is implicitly reflected, or you can implicitly find it while I go through the discussion in the slides. Introduction and literature review. A brief introduction about PhET. What is PhET? A PhET simulation is a research-based simulation that was developed by the University of Colorado Boulder, and it is available online or it can be downloaded for free, and it covers wide ranges of topics such as physics, chemistry, biology, earth science, and mathematics too. Now, various theories such as Paget's constructivist theory, then we have discovery learning theory, situated-based learning theory, discovery learning theory, and then like social constructivism theory, which includes zone proximal development, and Cope's experiential learning theory. So these theories underpins the effectiveness of this PhET simulation. Related studies. Now let me take you through prior studies that has been done before my studies. There are many studies that has been done, but I will take you through few studies that highlights about the importance of PhET simulation when we intervene or when you implement it in the classroom. So first one says, like Banda and Zabahimana, sorry for the pronunciation, Banda and Zabahimana in 2021 concluded that if you implement PhET simulation in the classroom, it enhances conceptual understanding of the students by helping them visualize abstract scientific concepts in the classroom. Next, Mrani and colleagues also concluded that implementation of PhET simulation in the classroom supports active learning by enabling them to have virtual experiment. According to Perkins and colleagues, according to Perkins and colleagues, PhET simulation intervention encourages self-paced learning, leading to student-centered learning. Then we have Marachik and colleagues asserts that intervention or implementation of PhET simulation in the classroom bridges the gap between theoretical knowledge and real-world applications. For example, like car crash simulation. Car crash simulation cannot be done in a classroom. It can be done only in simulation, and by watching that car crash simulation, students can learn the concept of momentum. Lastly, we have Lindgren. Lindgren asserts that intervention or use of PhET simulation in the science classroom or any classroom allows students to enhance their engagement, motivation, and their curiosity in STEM subjects. So these are some prior studies that has been done before our study, and this study explicitly tells us that PhET simulation intervention in the classroom has huge impact or huge benefit in the classroom. Now, let me take you through the problem statement. Many prior studies, as we went through or as we discussed earlier, have highlighted the impact of PhET simulation or importance of PhET simulation implementation in the classroom. But no studies, or few studies have been implemented only in Bhutanese classroom. Therefore, this underscores the necessity of implementing PhET simulation intervention in our classroom too. The next problem or the research gap is, as a teacher working in the school for about 11 years, I have come across many issues while doing physics experiment in the classroom due to the limitations of lab equipments in our classroom. If you see the condition of our lab, the lab equipments in our schools are not in a proper condition, and it is not sufficient for the students to engage in doing the practical experiments in the classroom, in the lab, be it physics, chemistry, or biology. And because of this, we try to address this question. What is the effect of PhET simulation intervention in the physics classroom? And we looked its impact on students' engagement level, satisfaction level, and their academic performance in the physics classroom using PhET simulation. The second question that we addressed was, are the differences in the pre-test and post-test scores of the experimental group students really due to intervention or implementation of PhET simulation? Prominent researchers have already suggested that if you do not control the confounding variables, like whether the achievement in the post-test was due to or really due to the intervention of PhET simulation, then this may mislead researchers, or it may lead to the validity issues of the result that the researcher have presented. Therefore, we also checked whether the result was really due to PhET simulation intervention or due to some other confounding factors. Confounding factors here includes the extraneous variables that have the potential to influence the observed variable or the dependent variable. And here we collected data on the prior knowledge of students prior knowledge of PhET simulation before the intervention of our simulation, and then whether students have taken this PhET simulation before or after, because after the lunch, because studies also says that implementing the intervention before or after or like towards the evening can also impact the benefit of the PhET simulation. We also collected the prior knowledge of students regarding the concept that was taught during the intervention. Now, let me take you through the research methodology. And the first one is the research design. In our study, we use quasi-experimental research design, and this is pre-test, post-test control group design. Now, quasi-experimental research design is a research design that lacks random assignment of the students to the control and the experimental group. This was because the students were already assigned to the two sections, and that limited our possibility of assigning them to the control and experimental group. Sorry, and we assist
Mr.
the
Sering?
lab.
You have already used 16 of your 20 minutes allotted, so you might have to speed up.
Less. Our participant included 57 students, which was divided into 28 and 29. Control group consisted of 28 students, and EG group consisted of 29 students. Now, let me take you through the data collection method. We use both qualitative and quantitative methods, and pre-tests and post-tests was carried out to see the impact of PhET simulation on students' learning in physics classroom. We used electric circuit conceptual evaluation inventory, which was developed by Professor David Sokolov, and the permission to use this was also sought from the whoever was looking after this. Then we use survey questionnaire to check the students' level of engagement and satisfaction in the intervention class. Now, with regard to data analysis, we conducted CFA, confirmatory factor analysis, to check the validity and reliability of the instrument, because without checking the validity and reliability of this instrument, we cannot put out the results saying that our result is valid. We also conducted multiple linear regression analysis to see whether other confounding variables are really impacting the students' engagement level and satisfaction level, and then academic performance in the physics classroom. Then we also did qualitative analysis to see whether what students are saying about the PhET simulation intervention. So, with the prior approval from the school principal, we conducted this intervention, and we use electric circuit simulation, which is available for free download from the PhET simulation website. And before the intervention, we conducted pre-tests to see whether students in the experimental group and control group have similar level of academic performance or not. After that, then we use the 6 heuristics developed by Wren and Collex, and 6 heuristics are this one, using the first one, then we have the second one, the third one, second one, the third one, so these are the 6 heuristics that we have used. And these 6 heuristics are the research-based strategies that have been already proved to work in other settings. So these are some pictures of the intervention that we have carried out in the classroom. The figure over there is a PhET simulation. Students were asked to build electric circuit, including DC, parallel circuit, and series circuit. And the the picture at the bottom is showing students working in the rail lab after going through the simulation. They were asked to replicate whatever they have learned in the simulation classroom to be shown to their friends or other whoever, like their group members, sorry. Results. So pre-tests, we conducted pre-tests, and the pre-test result showed that control group students were performing better before the intervention, and t-test result showed that there was no significant difference, although the mean shows some difference between control group and the experimental group. The t-test result did not show significant difference between the group. But after the intervention, students in the experimental group performed really better than the control group, and that was supported by the t-test. The difference between the mean of the experimental and the control group was statistically significant, and it was much, much beyond our traditional threshold of 0.05. Multiple linear regression analysis showed that intervention really worked. It is not due to the other factors, and it was really due to the PhET simulation that we have implemented in the classroom. This is the result that it is supporting. So this is our multiple linear regression analysis, and multiple linear regression analysis supports that our PhET simulation intervention has worked, and the positive outcome in the student was not due to other confounding variables. So this is the conclusion of this multiple linear regression analysis. Not lastly, like the second outcome was on students' engagement. If you look at the table, the mean at the bottom of the table clearly shows that students' engagement in the PhET simulation intervention were very high. And this is with regard to student satisfaction level, and the table also shows that students were highly satisfied in the PhET simulation intervention class. So this is what the table concludes. And lastly, we also collected some qualitative feedbacks or responses from the students, and I am sharing one response here. I give 9 out of 10. So this really supports that PhET simulation intervention in the class is really working. So now discussion and implications. So it is just a recap of what I have already explained. The PhET simulation intervention is really working in the classroom. It is able to increase students' academic performance in the classroom, students' engagement and satisfaction level in the classroom. Multiple linear regression analysis clearly supports that it is only due to the PhET simulation intervention and not due to other factors. Now, this is the last recommendation that we would like to suggest. We would like to suggest teacher training institutes, policymakers, and other concerned authorities to give us, when I say us, we the teachers, some workshops or trainings on how to effectively implement these PhET simulations in the classroom, especially focusing on the RAIN and KIX 6 heuristics, because this RAIN and KIX 6 heuristics benefits our students. And through my experience, there are many students who do not work or do not use this. And there are some teachers who do not have an idea of this. So if the concerned authorities like teacher training institutes, policymakers, MOASD could give us some trainings on this, then it will really make a huge impact in our students' life. So these are the references that I have used. With this, I would like to end the presentation. Sorry for taking longer duration.
Okay, action research literature talks about how action research journey is an enlightening process. I thoroughly enjoyed listening to both the presentations. The first one, Sonam's work on the impact of sign language is really profound, insightful. I'm sure many of the audience here would agree with me that this is an eye-opening. we have never realized how difficult it is to, deal with deaf individuals. So thank you so much, Sonam, for this. And Mr. Tsering's work on student engagement, again, is something that is very interesting and relevant in our context. As teachers, whenever we are not able to engage students, we only blame students. This student is not listening, this student is not doing the homework, not paying attention in the class. But I always remind teachers that there's also something called teaching disability, not the learning disability. So that's where Mr. Tsering comes in, always looking out for, ways to engage students in a meaningful way. So thank you so much for sharing your work. I would like to begin by asking a very open-ended kind of question. MC is waiting, so is it okay? By the way, I don't know whether I'm lucky or unlucky. There's no discussant sitting beside me, so I have all the liberty to take the session forward. I would like to ask a very open-ended question to both of you. Now, we know as teachers, we are thoroughly overloaded. Just a few days back, I came across an Facebook post by one of the teachers. This is my timetable for 2025. And Monday to Friday, 8:30 to 3:30, literally filled. Meaning this teacher has to run from class to class, from 8:30 to 3:30, Monday till Friday. And I'm sure this would be the situation with many teachers, especially currently given our, the rise in teacher attrition rate. So given all these difficulties, I would appreciate if you could share what keeps you motivated, what keeps you going, because research always demands, extra time. Of course, these are classroom-based research where you do that as you teach, but you have to write, you have to think, you always need extra time. And even at the university level, we are quite fortunate. We have a free day or two to work on our research. And in spite of that, we complain, no time for research. Forget about our teachers who are heavily loaded. So could you tell us some motivational stories behind your energy to keep you going so that it motivates other teachers who are here today?
As I have, as the introducer have already introduced earlier, my interest towards doing research ignited or got sparked when I got the opportunity to pursue my teacher training courses in Japan. And while I was there, I saw many Japanese professors who are really engaged in their research work, trying to work towards improving the performance of the students or education system of the education system. And in addition to that, I have few motivators, few role models, few researchers that I look up to, because I have an account in ResearchGate, which is a platform where all the works of the researchers are being dumped. And when I go through their research papers, I really get inspired to do like them, to produce paper like them, to make a difference in students' life by doing this kind of interventions in the classroom. So this is what have motivated me. And with regard to the time that I spent or time I find doing this is I had to have lots of sacrifices at my home. Sometimes my wife used to complain to me, "What are you doing all the time sitting on the chair and in front of the laptop?" But I keep on going, finding extra time after my schoolwork. Sometimes I used to stay like 1 p.m., 2 p.m., and sometimes I don't know how the time goes also. So this is how I get, how I motivate myself and how I work.
As for me, as you have seen in the picture, who'd not love to cater to those children? You have seen that, Mullah. So similar to that, similar to Tashi, as I've already mentioned, I am very passionate about catering to children with diverse needs and inclusion in the classroom. So usually, like before I entered Wangsil Institute for the Deaf, I wasn't like that. I was like any other general teachers. I normally go to classroom and then I come back, go back to school, home, then rest there. But then once I entered Wangsil Institute, I felt something different within myself, looking at those children. And then over there, in the beginning, when I first entered Wangsil, I found out that there was something that I need to do. And then later on, as I was with them for years, then I figured out that before those students, when they came to school, they were like quite rowdy, some kind of. And later on, I figured out when they passed out Wangsil, there was certain kind of changes. So that part kept me motivated, and I wanted to bring those changes in their lives. So that is why, if small things that I do can bring changes in the lives of my students, I keep on like igniting my interest in doing such kind of works. So with this, thank you.
Thank you. Thank you so much, both of you. So it's already 1 p.m., time for lunch, but we started a bit late. We can have few questions, yeah. So I open the floor for discussion. Yes, Dr. Sarosh Sapa.
Excellent presentations, both of you. Congratulations. Really enjoyed your first presentation, which had a simple design. You had children who couldn't communicate. You gave them means of communication, and you saw the results. Simple, profound. Thank you. The second one, Chiring sir, you are such a thorough researcher. The meticulous design that you've created, the way you've intervened, the way you've conducted research, wonderful. But I have a little problem with having a control group and an experimental group in a classroom action research design, because they are your students and they are with you in your grade 9, and you are treating one group to chalk and talk method while you are taking the experimental group through all these wonderful simulations and everything possible. So obviously the difference in the learning is bound to be there, right? But I also wonder, is it ethical to deprive a group of students of this experience of learning through these experiments? So whether, this is a question, whether in action research, in classroom-based action research, we should have control group at all. Your thoughts, please.
In my study, I have used cause experimental research design, as I have already explained. And within that research design, as explained, I have used control and experimental group. And in the experimental group, I have implemented the effect simulation. And in the control group, I taught the students with chalk and talk method. But it doesn't mean that I completely neglected the control group students. After the completion of my study, that is, after doing the intervention for about 2 weeks, I retaught that control group design control group students, same like what I have done in the experimental group, and that have benefited the control group as well. I did not completely neglect the control group, and because neglecting control group students like that will be unfair on their part, and doing the tests after doing the intervention would not be fair for them. So because of that, I re-implemented or conducted or carried out the same intervention in the control group design, control group students, with control students. So, thank you, ma'am.
Yeah, I think Dr. Sarosh brought out a very important point here. From my understanding in the action research setting, I personally feel that instead of creating control and experimental group, action research could focus on comparing baseline and post-intervention data. In that way, you are not creating or differentiating, or even, this is extra work for you. You have to reteach again to another group. But this is something that I've been thinking also. So with that, I would like to have our next question from Madam Sonam here.
Mine is actually not a question. I would like to seek clarification from Madam Sonam regarding the use of terms. In your presentation slides, I saw the terms like Institute for Deaf Children, Deaf Adults. And what I have seen in the inclusive standard is we have to use people's first language. People comes before his or her disability. So is there any reason why we have to use the term like deaf children, including the name of the institute like Deaf Institute? So I just wanted to, whether there are any specific reason for the use of such terms.
Thank you, ma'am, for raising this question. And I would like to advocate regarding inclusive language, and I got this opportunity because of you. When it comes to use of inclusive language, yes, it's very true. We are into focusing person-first language, that is, the person should come first, then their disabilities. When it comes to deaf, regarding deaf, it's like they said that they are as a community there, and they also came up saying that using deaf children or deaf student is acceptable for them. But still there are some kind of controversies going on in the ministry as well as the institute. But then the students and the community over there, they said that they are okay with the term using the term deaf, rather than saying, okay, persons with deafness or something like that. But then later they said that, okay, it can be used as deaf or either persons with deafness. So either one is correct. So I hope I answered your question now.
So maybe principal of Wangsil Institute is here, if you want to clarify.
Lastly, I just wanted to support my Sonam. Deafness, for the deaf community, deafness, I think deafness, they consider deafness as identity, not disability, by the deaf community. Therefore, they are wanted to call us deaf. Deaf means the meaning, a person who cannot hear, the meaning of deaf. So deaf community wanted to call them as deaf because it's their identity. And usually they say that we are not disabled, we are a language minority. So from that angle, if we look at deaf people, they are happy to be called as deaf. So based on their acceptance, we called our institute as Institute for the Deaf. I hope you have understood. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you. Yes, sir.
Hello, I'm Sajid from Aachen University, Pakistan. Very inspiring talk. Thank you very much. It's my first visit to Bhutan, and all that I hear is very inspiring. Thank you very, very much for that. Regarding action research, one dilemma that I think you have also pointed out towards the end of your research was the dilemma of generalization. As a researcher, we always have keen interest towards generalization, so my findings are more generalizable. Is it a legitimate expectation from action research to go for generalization? Because more action research is directed towards some kind of improvement that you want to see in your immediate circumstances. So should we go for generalization? Should we consider generalization as a limitation of action research? Shouldn't we just take pride in it? Thank you.
According to Chemist and McTaggart, action research, the main purpose of doing action research is really to improve the learning outcome of students, not to generalize it to the greater population. But whatever I have or we have explained out here is with regard to the format that we have been following for the publication. Because if we want to publish our paper, then we have to include this, include the limitations of our study as well. And the limitations of my study here is that it cannot be generalizable to larger population, because the sample that I have used is only 57. The number of students that we included in the study is 57. So if we really look from the perspective of students' learning outcome, then I think the main purpose of doing action research is to improve or bring some changes in the learning outcomes of students. But if we want to publish, then we have to talk about the generalizability of our study as well, because by looking at our study, others might replicate it with some other sample, larger sample size, and then see whether that really impacts, or see whether the study or findings that we have in our study can be replicated in that study, their study or not. Thank you.
Thank you so much for giving the opportunity. In line with the principal sir of Hongsel Institute for the Deaf, I have a question. Obviously not to the presenters, but to the floor. Well, my name is Kinjang Singh, and I'm a teacher of Hongsel Institute for the Deaf, and one of the researchers of the paper that is presented out here. So my question is to the floor. How far is it justifiable that deaf is one kind of disability? Because to my understanding and through my experience, what I've experienced is, and what I have understood is, deaf, they can play as good as we do. They can dance as good as we do. They have their own language. They have their own community. They have their own thoughts, feelings. So it is to the floor that I think it is our responsibility to think about this question. Are deaf really a disability? That's why, to answer the question of Madam, that's why they wanted to call themselves as a deaf. They feel proud in saying them, calling themselves as a deaf, just similar to, for French people, they wanted to call themselves as a French. And Japanese. And then, moreover, for in Buddhist context, we have Ngalop. We want to call ourselves as a Ngalop. We want to call ourselves as a Shashop. And again, we want to call ourselves as a Hosampa. Similar to that, they also wanted to call themselves as a Defla. So the question is I want to repeat the question once again. It is how far is it justifiable that deaf is one kind of disability? And thank you.
So thank you. I think we don't have to answer to this. I think we can think it over lunch, and maybe we can discuss, and try and respond to the sir's question. Yes, the lady here.
Good example and good afternoon. My name is Tring Teang, and I'm currently pursuing my Bachelor's of Education at Samtse College of Education, and I'm in first year majoring in English history. So thank you, Madam Sonam Chetan, for the wonderful presentation. And through your slides, we got an opportunity to observe how Bhutanese learning of the Bhutanese Sign Language takes place in the back at the Hongsel Institute. And through your presentation, we have seen that the learning happens between in a bipolar system, which is between the teacher and the students. So besides teachers, we know that parents' involvement plays a very vital role. Therefore, my question is, how can parents be better involved in supporting their children's learning of the Bhutanese Sign Language?
Last, thank you for that question. Regarding involvement of parents in the child's education, actually, like, it is the most important one, crucial one, having the child involved in child's education. Not only child, like in Brompton Fenner's ecology of like the child growth and all. So the child in the center, and the parents, teacher, and the school should be there to bring up the child. So involvement of parents is very important, and keeping that into mind, since one, like, I'm the inclusive education coordinator back at schools. What I do as my responsibility towards the child, I always involve children's parents while developing their IEPs and all. So this is first thing, involvement in their academics. When it comes to learning sign language, Wangsel Institute, we have adopted, like, it's kind of a, I would say, school's policy, school's custom, whereby we invite nearby parents to come to the school and learn sign language so that they could be involved in child's learning as well as communicating with their children.
Yeah, one last, Mr. Boch.
Thank you. I have one question for both the presenters. Equity, no discrimination. One to Sonam, very short question. How do deaf community, deaf students communicate outside the school and with the parents, because the language is just taught within the school? So very straightforward question. And one is to Chiring. You have made a very strong claim that, you know, faith simulation enhanced the academic performance of children. And I'm from the science background, so I always believe that learning science is by doing science, and doing science is you have to dirty your hands and actually do the experimental things through inquiry base. I would like to recommend you to do the comparative study between the faith simulation and the actual experimentation and find out. So will you change your statement later? Your very strong claim that is not the faith simulation which is improving the academic performance of children, but it's the other way. Actually, you have to do experiments in the lab or in the real field to improve the academic performance of science students. So just my thought. What is your thought on that? Thank you.
Thank you, Bursa, for the question. Again, I get to advocate. How do deaf community interact with the community beyond their own community? So first thing, obviously, if we like have this opportunity, we would love to teach sign language to people around so that they can communicate with our children. Secondly, now if the sign language possibilities are not there, usually like back at school, we teach them how to read and write. So they communicate through reading and writing if they are beyond their own community, outside the community where the people around are not aware of Bhutanese Sign Language. And to tell you, Wangsel Institute is open to teaching sign language to the community. We have been teaching it. We have been collaborating with our neighboring schools. We have been collaborating with DGI school, and we have been teaching them sign language so that our students have a bigger community to communicate with us. Thank you.
With regard to Bosa's question, whatever we have presented here is based on the data that we have collected. And I believe that there is a quote saying, "In God we trust, others must bring data." So whatever we have presented here is based on the data that we have collected in the intervention classroom. And whatever tools that we have used to collect those data were thoroughly checked with regard to their validity and reliability through rigorous statistical analysis, which includes confirmatory factor analysis. This confirmatory factor analysis is used to check whether the questions that we are using or that we have used is really measuring the intended construct that we are to measure. So based on our finding, based on our intervention, using that the prominent researcher like Wren and colleagues, 6 heuristics, I can clearly and exactly or truly say that whatever we have intervened or implemented in the classroom has produced huge impact on students' learning. And this is what I have also learned from the reflective responses when it was collected after the intervention. So once again, whatever we have presented or whatever we have found is truly based on the data and rigorous statistical analysis. Thank you.
Okay, thank you. I think if there are anything else, we can continue our discussion over lunch and break. So one more round of applause to our teacher action researchers. Thank you so much. And I now hand over the floor to MC.
Thank you everyone for your active participation. If there are any more questions, as stated by our moderator, please feel free to communicate over lunch. The panel was really enriching. I hope every one of us has tracked a lesson or two to take with us. My deepest gratitude to Madam Sonam and the team for highlighting the importance of sign language, specifically Bhutanese Sign Language in our context. It is always refreshing and inspiring to see the teachers working together, investing their efforts for the betterment of our students. Kudos to the team for their generous services. And to Tsering sir, gratitude for highlighting the importance of PhET simulation. We are pretty sure that the concept is pretty new to every one of us. Due to sir doing a research on it, you have opened the door for rest of us to explore into. Now to give away the certificates, I would like to invite on stage Alison Vaz. Alison works as an outreach and partnerships specialist under the KIX EMAP Hub. Firstly, for our moderator, Dr. Kezang Sharap of Paro College of Education. Ma'am Somchoden of Wangsal Institute for the Deaf. Sir Tsering Doji of Shahari Secondary School. In this regard, we are halfway through the program with the conclusion of 2 thematic sessions and 1 panel discussion. After lunch, we will be having another panel with the international guest on global perspectives. Now, I'd like to request for everyone to make your way to the foyer for lunch.